Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Major, 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 major giga changes. Okay, we'll start from the top. Okay, new zone, the Emerald Dream. New campaign, whatever. New world boss. New raid, Amir Drasil, the Dream's Hope. Having been carefully nurtured within the Emerald Dream, Amir Drasil is preparing to bloom and cross into Azeroth. Whatever, features 9 bosses. Okay, we know the name. Gnarl Root. I wonder if these are in order. They probably are, because Fire Axe at the end. Yeah, this is right. Okay, so mid-raid wall is Smolderon and Fire Axe at the end. The other guys here are later in the raid. Wait a second. So Gnarl Root, fine first boss, Aegir the Cruel, Volcaros. I'm assuming this is the dragon riding guy. Council of Dreams. Let's go. Love me a good council fight. Good council. I think there should be a council fight in every raid. I think council fights are good. Laerdar, Keeper of the Flame, Naimu, Weaver Cycle. All right, sick. Okay. Raid testing begins at a later date. That's fine. We'll be able to check out the mechanics of these on PTR today. God, today's gonna be such a good day. Wait, the dragon riding guy is the third to last boss? Oh, yeah, they did name him earlier. No. Okay, now I'm actually concerned about that. We'll read it in the journal later, but in general, gimmick bosses like that, I'm not. I think that's a big mistake. Classes. All right. In Guarding the Dreams, we're looking to redistribute Unholy's damage profile. Unholy has some of the highest bursts in the game, which means most of their damage profile needs to be tuned around that window. The goal of these changes is to reduce their 3-minute burst while increasing their rotational damage and giving more impact at their 45-second windows, which should allow for more overall healthy damage profile across a fight. We fully expect Unholy will still excel in their gargoyle windows, but they should now also have a little bit more impact outside of it as well. General dev note, I think this is great. I love playing Unholy. This is much needed. It's good that you have like a different kind of damage profile. Not every class needs to be a BM hunter where it's just the same all the way around. Having different profiles is good. I would say this is definitely true. Unholy DKs actually used to be one of the best raid classes in general and dungeon classes because they had such good damage every 45 seconds. Like, very rarely do classes have, like, decent something that matters every 45 seconds. Think of bosses like Sylvanas. Like, what classes are going to have a little bit of something every single platform? Almost no one, because of the way that it lined up. You didn't have 2 minutes every time. You didn't have 1 minute every time. But 45 seconds, you did have every time. So they were really, really good. That gives them a really strong niche that not other classes as well. And it also solves the problem where all their damage happens at once. It's good. Okay, Unholy Assault now increases damage by damage dealt by 20%, was granting 20% haste for 20 seconds. At the moment, Unholy has access to multiple sources of haste that can make their opener a little unwieldy, which often leads to an abundance of wasted resources. While this change doesn't completely rectify the situation, it should help reduce some of it. Okay, that's probably fine. It's actually probably really good for them. Raise Dead, main ghoul, okay, whatever. Summon gargoyle damage by 30%. That's fat, but that's what you expect from over here. Soul Reaper by 20, big execute buff. Army of the Dead damage reduced by 25%. Okay. Ghouls summoned from Apocalypse now have their own scaling from Death Knight stats separate from Army of the Dead. Okay. So they're buffing the ghouls that spawn from Apocalypse and nerfing Army of the Dead, making, again, the 45-second window a little bit stronger. That's good. Death Coil damage increase, Scourge Strike increase, Festering Strike, Festering Wound. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all those buttons don't feel great to press, so... Well, actually, Death Coil feels fine, but the other ones don't feel great to press, so... good change. All right, Demon Hunter. Updates for Demon Hunter talents are in progress. We're not ready for testing just yet. Goals for the updates include improving pathing and connections in the class tree, addressing underused talents, increasing access to key Havoc utility, and currently clashes with DPS. Havoc utility that currently clashes with DPS. So big... what they're referring to there is still... Somehow, in 2023, Havoc spec tree involves them having to choose between picking Fell Eruption or Netherwalk and just losing damage for this. Obviously, everyone should know by now, especially Blizzard, that this means you never select these things, which why the fuck do they exist if you could never select them? So good that they're realizing that. An update existing talents here, improving Vengeance, sigil-related talents, or identity be incorporated. Okay, we expect the Demon Hunter changes to roll in the next 2 PTR updates. You guys were asking who the next class to be reworked after Rogue is. Sorry. Like, no leaks here. Hopefully this is pretty clear from Blizzard's angle, but over the next few patches, we expect big changes to Demon Hunter's things. It is Demon Hunter. So Demon Hunter is one of the few classes that is going to be updated soon. Hopefully no leak. All right. Innervate duration reduced to 8 seconds was 10. That actually is kind of significant because there was like a little bit of an Innervate meta as to like exactly how much mana you can fit into it on like in a perfect scenario. And 8 will certainly reduce that by a bit, but I want to see exactly why. Maybe they say why. Balance. In Guardian, we'd like to diversify balances talent builds in order content to provide more viable options. Wild Mushrooms was too expensive to compete with other talent options, so we combined it with Fungal Growth into a single point. Wild Mushrooms is now a choice node with the revised Orbital Strike that no longer is tied to Celestial Alignment. You can choose the steady damage of Mushrooms or the less frequent big burst of Orbital Strike. We also removed the conflict remaining by maintaining Rattle the Stars and maximizing Star-Lord. We like save resources and spend during Eclipse gameplay balance and feel Star-Lord epitomizes it better. Cool. All right. Moonkin buff here. All abilities by 2%. Nerf to Nature's Grace. Power of Goldrin damage moved on the tree and increased in its power. Star-Lord is where Power of Goldrin was previously. Rattle the Stars is redesigned. I don't even know what it was before, but it's no longer a buff that stacks when you cast Star Surge or Starfall. It's now a passive bonus that always reduces the cost of Star Surge and Starfall by 10% and increases their damage. Orbital Strike redesign. Call down a thing. Applying damage in Stellar Flare for 16 seconds. Generates 30 Astral Power. It's now a choice node with Wild Mushrooms, and it still hits enemies in a 40-yard line with a 90-second CD. Fungal Growth has been removed. Wild Mushrooms now includes the effect of Fungal Growth. Okay, little combining there. Feral, let's go. Feral, definitely still in need of some stuff, I think. Developers note some minor shakeups in Feral. Apex Predator's value is varies a lot in single targets. We're evening that out a little bit. New version, more consistent value. Okay. It's hard to optimize its damage without using external tracking mods. Apex Predator's chance to increase against a low number of targets is decreased against a high number and is increased and decreased on a high number of targets. Its chance to trigger is about the same as it was before on 4 targets. Cat's Curiosity has been replaced by a new talent, Saber Jaws. When you spend extra energy on Ferocious Bite, the extra damage is increased by 40 and 80%. Oh, that's potentially very good, right? I mean, I don't know like numbers, but no, it's the extra damage is increased, not like the entire Ferocious Bite. That could be big for single target though. Incarnation's been redesigned. During it for 30 seconds and after it ends, your Rip and Rake each cause the enemies to take a 3% increased damage from your abilities. Okay. Resto. Cenarius' Guardian's Incarnation. Tree of Life functionality has been designed. During Incarn, you summon a Grove Guardian every 10 seconds. The cooldown of Incarn is reduced by 5 seconds when the Grove Guardians fade. So a little bit of CDR on them. That's really interesting. Gonna have to play around with that. Incarnation Tree of Life now additionally empowers Wrath. Because this... So is Incarnation and Resto Tree a choice node with Convoke? So they're just making it more of a competitive option, I assume. Causing it to deal 20% more damage and be an instant cast. Reforestation now grants Incarn for 10 seconds. Okay, bunch of changes here. Healer stuff, healer stuff, healer stuff. Might just move on. Oh, tier sets. We're getting tier sets today. That's interesting. Dude, holy shit. There's so much content today. Devastation. We're reducing the effectiveness of Mastery Giant Killer and adding a health floor for the damage bonus. Oh, so like it won't scale all the way to 0. At like 20%, it will stop scaling down. This will make less bursty in PvP and allow them to be more flexible in raid and dungeon content. All damage is increased by 5%, and then they're just nerfing the mastery. Sounds fine. Their mastery is like super polarizing, so needs to happen. No augment changes. Oh, there's going to be augment changes. They're probably just not done figuring out what it is. Like there are definitely going to be augment changes. Preservation, Spirit Bloom increased, Living Flame increased, Verdant Embrace increased, Resonating Sphere. Cycle. Okay. Hunter. Any signs of a rework for Hunter? Aspect of the Wild and Call of the Wild have struggled to be compelling choices during Dragonflight. Both these cooldowns were competing for similar design space and make you and your pets feel stronger. After evaluating them, we've decided to replace Aspect of the Wild entirely and convert it into the passive options on the talent tree. The removal of Aspect of the Wild allows us to double down on Call of the Wild being a strong pet summoning cooldown. We're also lowering the number of talent points in Thrill the Hunt and Dire Command talent nodes from 3 to 2, which should give you some extra flexibility in your talent choices. That's good. You're just straight up gaining 3 spec points just in general. Okay. And they're giving you a few new talents. Kill command damage increased by 10%. Barb shot lasts 2 seconds longer. Replaces Aspect of the Wild. Oh, it's only 2. Yeah. Master Handle's been redesigned. Call of the Wild has been slightly redesigned. Cooldown reduced to 2 minutes was 3, and the base ability is now added functionality. Whenever it summons a pet, the cooldown of kill command and barb shot are reduced by 50%. Choice nodes for Call of the Wild is updated. The stomp thing, and then also takes damage from your summon. It stacks. Cool. Thrill the Hunt is now a 2-rank talent. Was 3. Dire Command is now a 2-rank talent. Snake Bite's been removed. Marksmanship. Windrunner's Guidance has been unreliable. Okay, so now Windrunner's Guidance redesigned. Each wind arrow fired reduces the cooldown of rapid fire by 0.5 seconds, and every 8 wind arrows during the duration of your true shot by 1 second up to a maximum of 10 seconds. Increases the duration of your next true shot. So I guess it'll just be deterministic now. It's not RNG. I'll have to see the actual tuning on it, but I assume Marksmanship hunters would rather have a more consistent true shot time rather than it being RNG as fuck. If it's still powerful, I think that's fine. Wildfire bombs increased by 40% on your primary target and change the 4-piece a little bit. Holy Paladin healing nerfed by 3%. Holy Light increased by 40. Flash of Light increased by 30. Daybreak now restores 2,000 mana per glimmer. Was 3,000, so nerfing mana a little bit. Reclamation now restores 12% of Crusader Strike. Was 15. Glimmer healing and damage now increased by 4%. Was 6. And then separately buffed Glimmer of Light damage. Oh, big. Power Infusion Haste reduced to 20% was 25, and Duration reduced to 15 was 20. Power Infusion is proved too impactful with how it stacks with cooldowns on specs that excel in dealing damage in a short window. We're reducing its duration and amplitude to balance our burst classes and keep them more in line with steady state damage dealers. Okay, I'm really confused. So I don't think anyone who was negative about PI before is any less negative about it now. Now Priest's personal power infusion is just worse for themselves. And just in general, people aren't going to be happy with power infusion until you can stop putting it on other people. So I don't think people are going to be very happy about this. And I don't even think this really changes anything, actually. It's just bad for Priest. It's just worse for Priest. Really strange change. Shadow or Death now deals 8% of the health to the Priest maximum health when it fails to kill a target instead of the backlash damage. Master Spell cooldown is now 2 minutes, was 45 seconds. Dev note, we're reducing the frequency that priests have access to Master Spell as the value of the spell is exceeding the value of other utility at its current power level and cooldown. We're looking to allow for more situations where magic debuffs are applied to multiple players without having a priest trivializing the intended difficulty of the mechanics. Overall, really good change, especially in dungeons. There is a side benefit to this, or a side negative effect though. So previously you always had one priest in raids because of not only their fort buff, but I don't know, if you needed a Master Spell in a fight, you just kind of always have a priest in the raid. This is going to make it to where if you ever need a Master Spell in a fight, which is like, I don't know, on average, what, like once or twice a raid tier, you are going to need 2 priests for that. Almost certainly you will need 2 priests to be able to handle what you need on a Master Spell for a fight. So it could make the raid comp even less or even more restrictive. But it is kind of fight specific, but yeah, it is a side thing. Improved Master Spell no longer reduces the cast time of Master Spell, and then now that entire thing has been replaced with Mental Agility. Mental Agility reduces the mana cost of Purify Disease and Master Spell by 50% and Dispel Magic by 10%. Okay, so you can make Master Spell a 1 minute cooldown. So basically they're just nerfing it from 45 seconds to a minute at the absolute lowest. So yeah, or no, is it mana? Oh, it's mana cost, not cooldown. Okay, well, that's... okay. The only reason people went before Master Spelling is because they were Master Spelling so frequently that they couldn't get it off. It's happened to Shadow Priest, and at the end of fights, it can happen to Healer Priests. Healer Priest didn't want a Master Spell because of the mana cost. So if your class tree has like very little good nodes, you could take this if you ever have to Master Spell just as a slight mana gain as a healer. So I don't think it's like totally irrelevant, but most of the reason you would need Master Spell to have its mana cost reduced is actually fixed by you only being able to cast it every 2 minutes. So improved Master Spell is now a PvP talent. Yeah. But Mental Agility isn't, right? Rhapsody now only highlights Holy Nova at max axle on combat. Okay. Oh, that's actually a good change. Disc. The goal of these changes is to simplify Disc's damage rotation as well as the number of stacking modifiers used when ramping up for burst healing. This should make it smoother to play by reducing the number of abilities pressed in sequence, allowing players to focus on managing atonement and triaging their allies instead. Okay, good philosophy. Let's see what the actual changes are. Disc Priest is in this really weird spot where it's like super unbelievably hard to play when you're learning a new fight. And it's like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's like Disc is totally inaccessible for most of the player base, especially when Holy as an option is so good and so easy. And in the times where if you are really good at the game, they have rewarded you like you probably should if we're actually playing it well. Whenever that was the case, they were just super broken for like 5 years. Like you just played them all the time because the players at the top are really good. And now it's like, why even go through that? Other classes have ramp as well. Healers are so OP that like the need for Disc's profile isn't there in this expansion. And I guess on top of Holy being really good. And they actually did fix Disc being hard with Spirit Shell. With Spirit Shell, you didn't need to be good at Disc. Every time your Spirit Shell's off cooldown, you did the same ramp every time. And regardless, you didn't have to worry about when the raid was taking damage because it was just an absorb. So, but then that had its own problems and they should have removed it and they did. But okay. Let's see how they're approaching it this time. Schism has been redesigned to be a passive talent. It now causes Mind Blast to fracture the enemy's mind, increasing your spell damage by 10% for 9 seconds. Shadow Covenant has been redesigned to be a passive. Shadow Fiend or Mindbender enters you into a Shadowy Pact, transforming Halo, Divine Star, and Penance into Shadow Spells and increasing the damage of your Shadow Spells by 25%. Okay, so you no longer have to press Shadow Covenant. It's just built into your ability. And Schism is gone. Or is passive, I guess. Shadow Covenant is another ability that must be sequenced correctly and usually stacked with damage modifiers. We're just making that easier. Cool. That actually sounds decent. I don't play Disc, but that sounds fine. Mind Blast is now a 24-second cooldown, was 9. Damage has been increased to make up for that. Dark Indulgence no longer grants an additional charge of Mind Blast. Instead, Mind Blast is a 100% chance to grant power of the dark side. This also reduces their damage a little bit by nerfing Mind Blast. By the way, I want to point out that's fine. People haven't played Disc this expansion, really, at like top levels. So I don't think people have realized how much damage Disc brings to a raid. I'm making this up. I'm spreading misinformation on the internet. Like, I don't know for sure, but I think Disc might almost double the next best class in damage in a raid. Like, if you're talking damage while actually healing, like, it's... If you combine Power Infusion plus the damage they are doing, it's fucking unreal how much damage they do. Dark Indulgence no longer grants a charge of Mind Blast instead of, yeah, Power of the Dark Side. Inescapable Torment damage increased. Now triggers from Penance in addition to those things. Power Word Solace removed. Harsh Discipline no longer triggers after 4 spellcasts of Smite. They did this change. Power Word Radiance is a 60% chance to cause your next penance to be free and fire 3 extra bolts. Smite prevents the next 80% damage dealt by the enemy. Wait. Whoa, 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 whoa. New talent. When you smite, it'll give them a debuff that makes them do 80% less damage. Oh, it makes them prevent the next 80% damage from smite? Woohoo! How much damage does smite do? That's not right either. That's going to be interesting. We'll test it. Ascend into the air and unleash a massive barrage of penance bolts, causing holy damage to do this. Okay. New talent, Heaven's Wrath. Each penance bolt you fire reduces the cooldown of ultimate penance by 2 seconds. I don't know what any of these things do. Penance healing increased. Powered barrier. Oh, they nerfed barrier. Yo, hi. Okay. People are going to be mad because you're not even playing Disc right now. This is fine. Powered barrier was by far the best raid cooldown in the game. The fact that it was still 25% after Aura Mastery got nerfed, after all of those other AMZ, after everything got nerfed, this is fine. It's probably still like the best cooldown for most situations on bosses. You just don't think of it because you haven't played Disc recently. But this is perfectly fine. Probably necessary. Atonement now heals for 32% of damage done, was 40. Okay, Atonement healing is now increased by 50% when not in a raid. Oh, that's going to be huge for dungeons, right? That's fucking giga big. Flash heal increased by 40%. Shield absorption by 10%. Divine... Okay, so huge Disc changes. Okay, Disc... Holy. Single target healing increased by a lot. 40%, big numbers. Sanctify heals 5 allies instead of 6. Halo healing reduced. Divine Star reduced. Oh! Symbol of Hope now restores 10% of missing mana. Was 15. Symbol of Hope recovers 40 seconds of cooldowns for major defenses instead of 60. Perfectly fine. Low key, after this change has been made, which was made late in Shadowlands to Symbol of Hope, it has become increasingly more obvious that this ability is absolutely ridiculous. Symbol is fucking disgusting. So that's fine. I think Holy's still perfectly fine. It's still really valuable. Was it a little too strong? Certainly. Yeah. Especially now with Symbol reducing Obsidian Scales, which now with Augmentation is a like raid defensive, then yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Holy Word Sanctify now has 5, 6, whatever. Shadow. Shadow crash damage reduced beyond 5 is beyond 5 targets, so capping Shadow Crash and your PI is reduced. Good owned, idiots. Surge of Insanity now triggers from every 3 casts of Devouring Plague instead of every Devouring Plague. Mind Flay Insanity increased by 30%. Mind Spike Insanity increased by 20. Mind Flay damage increased by 10. Okay, get on Shadow Priest. Fucking see you later. Doing the little Fortnite L dance. You know what I mean? That thing. Get fucking destroyed. Go whine in your class Discord. Why am I so mean right now? Holy shit. Okay, the Life Cocoon healing increased by 33%. Could be much more than that. Still the worst external in the game by far. Probably a PvP concern why they don't make it bigger. Soothing Mist increased. Enveloping Mist increased. Misty Peaks. Never heard that before in my life. Enveloping Breath now heals to 5, was 6. Invigorating Mist more. Burst of Life by 100. Vivify Direct Healing by 30. Ton of single target increase for them. Ancient Teachings range increased to 40 yards. Clouded Focus. Ancient Concordance. 2-set redesign. Cool. All right, Rogue. Let's fucking go. In Guardians of the Dream, we're updating all 4 Rogue talent trees to bring them up to current standards. A sweeping pass was needed to make significant adjustments to address notable concerns, like moving the first gate from row 3 to row 4 to match other classes, improving pathing, increasing interconnectedness of every tree, removing 3-point nodes, increasing the percentage of minor DPS talents taken for more flavorful and robust utility options. We also wanted to use the opportunity where so many things are changing to rework and redesign some talents that needed in the update. Okay. Why 4? Oh, no way, chat. Come on. 3 specs plus class tree. 3 plus 1 equals 4. Come on. You guys are better than this. You guys did not just get off of a plane. Sap is now a baseline ability. Shiv damage increase. Shiv now costs 30 energy, was 20, and has a 30-second cooldown, was 25. Okay. Featherroot. Sprint increases movement speed by an additional 30%, and its duration is increased by 4 seconds. That's fucking sick. Really sick, actually. Crippling poison. Reduced movement speed by an additional 10%. Okay. That's like a... I'm assuming it's like probably going to be like a choice node with something else. Like crippling poison is a little bit more potent. Let's see. You have a new talent where Shroud of Concealment has a 50% reduced cooldown to combat it being way worse than Mind Soothe. Feint has 1 additional charge with new talent. It's fine. Vigor's location on the tree has now been changed and now a 2-point talent, increasing match energy by 100 and increasing energy unit by 15%. Deadly Precision is now a 1-point talent. Point per value has not changed. Night Stalker's location has changed and now increases damage while stealth is active. Okay. Reverberation, increasing it by 100. That's the buff to the old Kyrian ability. Deadened Nerves now reduces physical damage by 5, was 3. Echoing Reprimand now charges a combo point from 3, 4, and 5, was 2, 3, and 4. Mark for Death has been adjusted. Cooldown adjusted to 40 seconds for all specs. 30 for it was 30 for these two and 60 for Outlaw. Grants full combo points, was 5, and now increases your damage of your finishing move by 15. It lasts 15 seconds and resets cooldown if the target dies during the effect. Okay. That's all the class change stuff. Assassination is known for having strong single target damage, but has 2 areas of concern we hope to address. First and foremost, the raid enemy have been notably dog shit and left them far behind in attack for Mythic Plus and certain raid encounters. I really hope sometimes when I like swap words like they say weak and someone's not watching my stream and just listening and you just assume that they wrote dog shit. Anyways, random thought. Secondly, their damage performance does not improve at a similar rate compared to most specs when players improve their play and coordination to take on bigger challenges. Like when moving from heroic to mythic level rating, we hope the changes will rise the floor of its AoE, especially this. Okay. Many changes have been made to the tree. Shadow Steps baseline. Ooh, good change. A new passive. Your bleed damage is increased by 10%, and targets below 35% instantly bleed out and take fatal damage when the remaining bleed damage you would deal to them exceeds 200% of their remaining health. That's really interesting. That's actually a really sick Mythic Plus change in general. Because, like, I mean, anytime you're killing mobs as a rogue, I mean, like, you just still have a ton of dots. That's going to be really good in PvP, too. Let's see. New talent. Using Mutilate on a target affected by Rupture and Lethal Poison causes this for 10 seconds. This causes 30% of poison damage dealt to splash to nearby enemies. Ooh, that's good. More AoE changes. Envenom duration reduced by 1 second. Improves Shiv. Now increases nature damage by 30. I like Shiv being better and more impactful. Venomous Wounds effect now stores 8 energy with 7. Elaborate Planning is now 1-point talent. And it mixes what it used to be a little bit better than an old 1 point, but worse than 2. But you gain a point. Seal Fate is moved. Internal Bleeding. Crimson Tempest has been adjusted. Okay, no longer has an instant damage component. Now has an initial damage over time tick on application. Damage per tick increased by 25%. Duration increased by 2 seconds. I like the duration increase. Now increased bonus damage when multiple enemies are afflicted. 20% per target up to 100%. That's huge. Okay. That'll also allow them to tune this to not be good for single target. I don't know if I speak for all rogues, but I hate having to play Crimson Tempest on single target. It feels terrible. So by them doing this, they buff it for AoE and they can tune it to where it is most likely not played on single target. So let's see. Lightweight Shiv now increases Shiv damage by 100%. No reduction to previous effect. Exsanguinate has been redesigned. I don't really like Exsanguinate. Wait, did you guys say that rogues have 300 energy now? It's kind of interesting. Wait, now I need to read this. The active of Exsanguinate is a 1-minute cooldown. Garrote Rupture, Crimson Tempest consume 10 energy to duplicate 100% of any damage dealt. Last 10 seconds. Really interesting. Passive version. While above 100 energy, your Garrote Rupture and Crimson Tempest consume 8 energy to duplicate 40% of any damage dealt. I don't know. This is breaking my brain right now. I need to play with that. There are 2 updated versions of Exsanguinate available to test on PTR. Located on the talent tree is a choice node, with one being active and one being passive. Oh, that makes way more sense to me. Based on testing, feedback, and possible... They really should have put this dev note before it for stupid people like me. Possible iteration would like keep one to continue for patch release and discard the other. That's fucking really cool. Yo, Blizzard, do that way more. That is... Dude, if you're ever, like, unsure how you want a talent to work when you're reworking it, putting it as a choice node on the tree to literally get feedback from people trying both of them is an insanely good idea. That's so smart. Let's fucking go. That's brilliant. That's so smart. Okay, Flying Daggers, increased damage of Phantom Knives 15%. Venom Rush effect, refunds 6 energy, was 7. Vicious Venom's been adjusted. Bonus damage effect increased from 35 to 70%. Now increases ambush and mutilate energy by 5 to 10. Poison Bomb now is an 8-yard AoE instead of 6 yards. That's good. Zoldyck is now a 2-point talent. Points for values have not changed. Oh, so it's just a little bit weaker execute than before, but I mean, you almost never put in that 3rd point anyway. And giving you all of that for 2 points would have made you take it like all the time. Zoldyck. That's what it says. How are you going to pronounce this instead? You guys are so, it's a Thursday, man. It's been Thursday the whole day. Dashing Scoundrel effect now generates 1 to 2 energy, was 1 at both ranks. Scent of Blood is now a 2-point talent. Oh, this is the AoE thing. And effects now increase ability by 1.5 to 3. Okay, so you still get the same value at 2, so you just gain a spec point just straight up. Arterial Precision's effect now increases bleed damage by 30%, was 20. Dragon Tempered Blades now causes your weapon poisons to apply 30% less frequently in addition to its previous effect. And Indiscriminate Carnage has been redesigned. Garrote and Rupture apply to 2 nearby enemies when used from stealth, and for 3 seconds after breaking stealth. Wait, I would like a dev note for that. Doesn't it currently apply to all enemies? Outlaw's talent tree has produced some fun gameplay so far in Dragonflight, but it has significant issues with rigidity, lack of pathing options, high tension between early tree EPS and utility nodes, and a far above average number of unskippable core skills. Some of those skills have returned to Outlaw baseline, increasing routes or pathing, whatever. Okay. Grappling Hook, Blade Flurry, Roll the Bones, and Restless Blade are now all baseline abilities. All right, plus 4 spec tree points. Sounds good. Many changes have been made to the Outlaw talent position and connections. Prey on the Weak has been moved from a class tree to Outlaw, has been renamed Sting Like a Bee. New talent, Airborne, Irritant, Passive, Blind applies to 4 nearby enemies while Blade Flurry is active, but has a 20% reduced duration. That's really interesting. You'd have to spend a talent on your spec tree to get AoE CC. So I think this is a cool idea. It's basically giving rogues an AoE stop, one that they actually don't have at the moment, as much as they can stop things individually really well. My only issue with that is I wonder where it's placed in the tree, as there's a big problem in a lot of trees right now. Actually, not a lot of trees. Very few amount of trees, but big problems in them, and where you don't want to pick utility on your class tree or your spec tree, because that's where you get all your damage. And this is on the spec tree, so it's in a position where utility is only competing with utility for what it's worth. Oh, cool. All right. Between the Eyes has no cooldown and also dispatches the target for 100% of normal damage when used from stealth. You're underhanded upper hand. Passive. Slice and Dice does not lose duration during Blade Flurry. Blade Flurry does not lose duration during Adrenaline Rush. Adrenaline Rush does not lose duration during stealth, and stealth abilities can be used for an additional seconds after 3 things break. That's pretty cool. Between the Eyes crit bonus is now a buff on the rogue, which is was a debuff on the target. Thief's versatility. Oh, that's really good, right? That just means you just get that benefit for everything instead of just the one target you're hitting. What they do with Slice and Dice, though. Thief's versatility is adjusted. I don't even know what that did before. Fatal Flourish now has a 50% chance, was 60. Deft Maneuvers been redesigned. Swift Slash is readjusted. Ace Up Your Sleeve now grants 5 up than 4. And also chance to trigger was increased. Triple Threat's now a 1-point talent. And it used to give you the same effect of 2. Okay, 5 spec points total now increased. Improved Main Gauge now a 1-point talent. Point per value have not changed. Okay, so 1 not instead of 2, but not the double the value. Weapon Master's been removed. Improved to General and Rush was adjusted. Now grants full energy when it ends, and no longer full combo points when it ends. Ghostly Strike has been readjusted. No longer affected by the GCD. Cooldown increased to 1.5 was 35. Energy cost increased. Damage done increased. And now increases damage to the target by 15% was 10, and duration increased. Okay. Dreadblades adjusted. Now grants full combo points was 5. Energy cost from 30 to 40. Backlash. Killing Spree has been adjusted. Moved to a capstone. Now a finishing move. And damage per strike increased by 33%. That's gonna fuck. Right? It's now increasing by 1 strike per combo point spent. And damage per strike increased by 33% in general. That is going to fuck. No longer reduces damage taken during the effect. Now causes 100% of the damage taken to be delayed, instead taken over 8 seconds. Okay, that's super cheesy. You could cheese the fuck out of raid mechanics. What's the cooldown of Killing Spree? Rogues basically just got a second immunity if you can use this at a proper time. You could soak like a black hole and then just give them an external to heal through the damage, which you would otherwise only be able to immune. 1.5 minutes. Still, you could line it up for this, though. Most of the time, you can delay cooldowns like this by like 20 or 30 seconds, and you still get the same amount of uses in a fight. And it can be cloaked off. Well, that doesn't really matter because you could have just cloaked most of the damage that would kill you anyway. That's really cool. That's, dude, fucking awesome change. And haste makes you go through the animations faster to give haste some value. Okay, subtlety. Guys, I'm running out of brain juice. Developers note, it's been gameplay outcomes have been talents have been underused. Is there anything important in here? Okay, I'm just gonna go through the changes. I can't read all that right now. Shadow techniques redesigned. Find weakness has been adjusted. Now 1-point talent. Shadow blades has been adjusted. Ephemeral Bond, increasing healing by 12%. Receive by 12. Shadowcraft, while Symbols of Death is active, your Shadow technique triggers 1 fewer attack. Gormaz Bite, lash out the target, increasing damage. Bro, none of this means anything to me. Can we just say sub is getting changed and I'll hear from rogues in a discussion at a future date on how good it feels? Can we all agree to that? Or can someone summarize something cool? Can someone hit me with a T? Yeah. Just can we do that? All right. Mana Spring now restores 150 mana for Enhancement Shaman was 250. Wait, some other major change has to be happening for Mana Spring because the Mana Spring is trash. So there must be more lower than this. Like, Mana Spring is bad, so... Enhancement. Primordial Wave spell damage increased by 500%. Oh, the actual damage of Prim Wave. And then Resto, Healing Stream increased... Healing increased by 20%. That's good. Healing Surge increased by 30. Healing Wave by 30. Prim Wave duplicates Healing Wave at 40% with 60. That makes sense because of the Healing Wave buff. Cloudburst Totem now accumulates 20% of your healing done was 30. So Cloudburst nerf. Ascendance duplicates 80% of all healing done. Ascendance nerf. Manatide Totem now increases mana regen by 80% was 100. And Resurgence now restores 20% less mana. So this is just overall... So I understand why they nerf this now. Because they want the mana economy to be lower, they're nerfing all the things that give mana. They shorten the cooldown of Innervate, or the duration of Innervate. They're nerfing Manatide Totem. But unfortunately, they're nerfing Mana Spring, which was at its current level completely useless. And they nerfed it now to be even more useless. So... yeah, they should rethink that. Warlock Affliction. Warlock's design has been redesigned. Summoning Dark Glare cooldown is reduced by 30%. Okay, I don't know what that means. What is that now? Does that mean that Summon Dark Glare is what cooldown? It's exactly the same. It doesn't do anything. You never pick this. Cool. All right, Demonology. Demonology's damage profile is too reliant on Nether Portal and Tyrant Windows. That is correct. In Guardians of the Dream, okay, as long as it's the same, let's see the changes. The Unholy changes, the philosophy was good. I don't know how Demo plays, though, so let's see. Gul'dan's Ambition was redesigned. When Nether Portal ends, you summon a Pit Lord that serves you for 10 seconds. Grand Warlock's design has been redesigned. Summon a Demonic Tyrant cooldown is reduced by 30 seconds. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming now it's more static instead of based on, I don't even fucking know. Nerzul's Volition. Demons summoned from your Nether Portal deal 30% increased damage. Demonic Knowledge now has a 10% chance of causing Hand of Gul'dan and generating a demonic core. Implosion deals 10% increased damage. Bile Scourge Bomber by 20. And then now they have a chance to summon one. I'll give you the rundown. They nerfed all the cooldown abilities and buffed Shadow Bolt by 30%, which does 1% of your damage. Is that what they did? They just nerfed all the cooldowns and wanted you to feel good about pressing Shadow Bolt more, which is 1% of your damage? And I can skip all of this? That's fucking dog shit. All right. I guess, okay, they increased Vile Fiend damage, increased Demon Bolt. You have to keep in mind that THG is also a fucking huge doomer. Destro. We're removing madness of this word and introducing a new talent, Chaosbringer, that increases the output of Chaos Bolt, Shadow Burn, and Rate of Fire. Additionally, we're adding damage to Chaos Bolt baseline. We're doing this specifically to decrease how penalizing movement can feel as a Destruction Warlock, while also making these spells feel more impactful. How is that helping movement? That does nothing for movement, right? It's so you don't have to chain cast Chaos Bolts. Madness was a 5-second maintenance buff. Oh, I see. So the penalizing movement thing had to do with removing this. I thought they specifically said that after increasing the damage baseline, and I'm like, how the fuck does increasing chaos damage baseline make you not feel bad about moving? But I guess that makes sense. Chaos Bringer, Chaos Bolt damage increased by 15%. Rain of Fire damage increased by 10. Shadow Word by 10. Chaos Bolt, 15 in general. Ooh. Summon Infernals reduced by 60 seconds. Okay. Dragon Riding. Whoa! New glyphs to learn 3 traits. I don't give a shit, man. It'll be fine. We'll learn when it comes out. Items. Nerfed Rashok's Molten Heart by 70%. Okay, so mana is going to be really feeling it now. They needed to nerf that, though. If we're being real. They needed to nerf it. It was... that might be too much. You don't want trinkets to be that strong from a previous raid, for sure. Raid rewards. Players can test several new raid trinkets, the Incandescent Essence Helm enchantment, and several weapons with additional effects acquired by... oh, you can test these new weapons right away. And then the class sets are available on Setzer Torin. We look forward to your feedback. Cool. What is this? Players will begin a questline to acquire this reusable helm enchantment shortly after entering the raid, and they can acquire it in their second month of raiding. This powerful item grants players a different effect based on their current role and consumed on use. These effects can be disabled in PvP. Is this a raid nerf? Is that the point of this? It's a helm enchant. The reason they say it's reusable is if you get a new helm, it won't go away and you can just put it on your new helm. I think it's a raid nerf for civilians. Lit.